Guys, how's it going? Welcome to this video. Alright, so I am putting this video out if you guys have a car that has no power. It's a tricky video to put out there because the video says how to start a dead car without jumper cables. Alright, I'm going to try to put this video out there for you guys. If you guys are in this situation, you guys think you guys have a dead battery or you guys have a dead battery, I'm going to try to put out a video with some real tips to help you guys in this situation. Now, it probably won't help a lot of people, but it might help some people. And as long as it helps some people, it's a good video. All right, so don't complain if you're stuck in this situation. You're probably left with very little options but to call a tow truck or somebody to jump your car or try to help you out with your situation. First of all, what you guys want to do in this situation is you guys want to make sure the battery is actually you guys want to make sure that the battery terminals are clean. All right, a lot of times, sometimes not a lot of times, sometimes the battery won't put out enough voltage to your vehicle if it doesn't have enough contact with your battery terminals. All right, a lot of times people think it's the battery when it's the battery terminals that's the issue. They have crud on the battery terminals, corrosion on the battery terminals, white bluish corrosion, oxidation of whatever, or the battery terminals are loose. The wires to the battery terminals have issues as far as fraying of the wires. There's not enough contact with the wires with the terminals, etc., etc. Definitely want to check your battery terminals. All right, so basically what you guys want to do is you guys want to try wiggling the battery terminals. All right, wiggling the battery terminals and then try to turn it on. Hopefully that'll work out as far as this situation is concerned. You get it to turn on. Now, if it doesn't, what you guys want to do is you guys want to try to clean the battery terminals, clean the inside of the battery terminals, clean the inside of the rings of the cable terminals, cables where it connects the terminals. Clean the cable terminals. If you guys have a wire brush, you guys can do it. If you guys have any kind of what is it called, oxidating baking soda, can of soda, you guys can pour soda onto it, pour soda onto a paper towel and then clean it out as best as you can. Obviously, I know that a lot of people are not going to have a metal brush with them, but you have paper towels, you have soda where it fizzes up. Take the terminals off if you guys can. A lot of times you guys can wiggle it off. Sometimes it's so tight you guys can't wiggle it off. If that's the situation, just find somebody who might have a wrench or something like that to take to loosen the nut and then take it off, clean it up and and pop it back in. And or check out the battery terminals to make sure that the wires are good. All right, make sure that the wire is connected to the ring that connects to the terminal. Make sure that wire is not loose. Make sure that wire is not broken off. I've seen so many situations where somebody has a crank no start or an absolutely no power situation to the car, and the problem that's causing it isn't the battery itself, but it's around where the terminal is, around where the ring is, etc., etc. All right, that's very, 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 very important, particularly when the weather is cold, particularly when the battery is weakened by the cold temperatures. Okay, so that's one thing. Definitely look at that. Second thing, if you guys are in this situation where you guys get no power, or you guys try to turn on your vehicle and all you can see is dashes and you guys hear nothing at all, or you guys get no power at all, like this, the disconnecting the battery, guys definitely want to make sure that your ground cables Okay, your main ground cable is the negative ground cable from your battery to the frame of the vehicle. You want to make sure that that cable is good, connected from the battery to the frame of the vehicle. You want to make sure that that cable is not corroded. You want to make sure that that cable is well connected, solidly connected to the frame of the vehicle. All right, the way the electrical system works is the battery is only as good as the positive cables and the negative cables essentially deliver the same amount of voltage. A lot of people think most of the voltage or all the voltage comes from the positive cable, but no, the negative cable actually completes the voltage. You need the negative cable to be as connected, as the same gauge, as the same to be able to work the same, deliver the same amount of power as the positive cable. and you want to make sure that that cable is well connected. Now, that's not the only negative. That's not the only negative off the cable. All right, that's not the only ground cable off the vehicle. Particularly in modern day vehicles, there are many ground cables in the car. Sometimes they break off. Sometimes for whatever reason, you guys are living in an area of a rat infestation. They get chewed off. Sometimes over age they become brittle, and they fray off. Okay, so you gotta want to make sure. Sometimes rust happens and it rusts off the ring connector. You want to make sure, look around to make sure that you guys don't have any broken off negative cable. Also, on a lot of vehicles, particularly I've heard with GM vehicles, that with the connection where the main ground cable is connected to, a lot of times I think it's a manufacturing defect with a lot of GM vehicle where that terminal post, and I think that a lot of times that terminal post is actually one of the studs of it's actually, the post is actually either close to or posted on the driver's side front strut, one of the nuts that holds it there. A lot of times, but I think it does have its own dedicated post. A lot of times that post where it's connected to, or the surface area where it's connected to on the frame, there's not enough contact. There's not enough of a contact point. They paint over it. There's not enough of a contact point. You might want to take some a metal brush or whatever to increase, just to chip over that paint to make sure that there's enough of a metal to metal connection. And if you guys have issues with not just a no start, but issues with check engine lights and all kinds of different weird codes that have nothing to do with each other, you guys definitely, transmission issues, a lot of things have to do with that negative terminal post. All right, you might want to just sand it up, or just make sure that there's enough metal to metal contact instead of paint to metal contact to get enough of a contact so that it works properly. Okay, moving on from that. All right, now I'm like I said before, this video probably won't help most people, but it might help some people. You guys have this situation where it's a dead battery and somebody tells you can probably try to start it without jumper cables. There's only a few things that you could do sometimes that could work in this situation, because if the battery is still good, you might be able to do that. But most of the time, if you guys have this situation, you probably do have either a dead battery or battery that just doesn't have enough power to get your vehicle to jump start the starter. Okay, so I'm thinking as I'm moving on with this vehicle, but these things do work if in some cases, if you guys are in this situation. Okay, moving on. Now, if you guys are in this situation where you guys are stuck, you guys are driving, your car dies out, I've seen so many of these situations where the alternator dies, and then the battery dies a couple miles later, and and a lot of cars are stuck on the highways. They're stuck on the road, and I've seen these situations where they don't know what the problem is. They just think that it's a dead battery, so they call somebody else to try to jump the car. I've seen multitudes of these situations. I've seen multitudes of this situation. Now, me being me having worked on cars, known about how the whole electrical system works, I've seen front end to front end, car front to front, and then people trying to jump the battery when the car died while driving. Let me tell you what that situation is. That situation does not work. I'm going to tell you why that situation does not work. Okay. Basically, you have a dead alternator in that situation. The alternator charged up the battery and then it died. So basically, you were probably driving on a dead battery for a good 5, 10. I've seen cars drive just on a battery for 20 miles. If they have nothing else on, no lights, no headlights, no blow motor, no AC, nothing like that, you could probably drive for a good 20 miles. Okay. I'm sure if you guys are stuck in this situation and you have another car trying to charge up your battery, you probably don't know how the whole electrical system works, because that never worked. Okay, you would have to charge up that battery for about 4 to 5 hours to get maybe like 20 miles, and then after 20 miles your vehicle is going to die again. Or if you have all your accessories on, that vehicle is going to die like 5 miles up the road. Or you might be able to jump start it and your alternator has just a little bit of issues. It doesn't charge, but it gives you enough voltage. You might be able to drive it for maybe 4 blocks down the road and it'll die out again. All right, it's futile. Trying to charge up that battery is futile. It doesn't work because your alternator is not putting any power into that battery. All right, giving it like a 10-minute, 15-minute jump doesn't work, guys. You might get like a couple blocks down the road and then your car is gonna die. I've seen it multiple times. Like every other day, if I come across a vehicle that's dead on the freeway, on the streets, and then you have another vehicle trying to charge it up, trust me, doesn't work. But what does work is, I'm gonna tell you what does work. Okay, I'm gonna tell you what does work in this situation. Now, if you guys are in this situation and you guys don't have any money for a tow truck, if you guys just need to get your vehicle to where it needs to get to, like maybe like a couple of miles down the road, 4 miles down the road, or just get it off the freeway so you get it towed, because those freeway charges are quite expensive. I'm going to tell you what, like a trick that you guys can do, okay? First of all, if you guys are in this situation, just know that your battery is 100% shot, 100% dead. There's nothing you could do about it. It's probably a bad battery at that point. It's probably damaged at that point because you've been driving on that battery for, a good 4 to 5 miles without charging it. Probably cells are dead on that battery, okay? Now, what you guys can do is the other car, if you guys have another car there, what you guys can do is you can have the other car turned on, okay? It's running, it's on. Here's a trick. You guys can take that battery from the other car, put it into your car while the car is on, because the alternator is actually running that vehicle. All right. I don't know. I don't know if it works on newer cars with all the electronics, all the electronics, computerized stuff, but I think it's still, I think you could probably still use this method on pretty much virtually any car. All right. You could take the battery of the other car while that car's running, keep the other car running, take that battery, put it in your battery one way or another, take the cables and essentially connect the positive and negative wires, cables from your car, and then hook it up to that battery from the other car. All right, and you can start your car. It'll give you about, and then turn off all your accessories. It would Okay, you can drive it on just that battery alone for a good 10 to 15, 10 to 20 miles. You could do that. I've heard somebody do it for 40 miles. I don't know if that's possible. All right, I don't know if that's possible, but you can go a good 10 to 20 miles. It'll definitely get you off the ramp onto the regular street where you can call AAA and you don't have to pay out of pocket. The other vehicle, since it's already on, it really doesn't need the battery to operate, unless it's one of these cars with complicated electrical systems, like Mercedes and Audis and all those vehicles. You might be able to still try this because the alternator, as long as there's an electrical charge coming from the alternator to the vehicle's main electronics, and in like virtually all cars, this is the situation. You should be able to just have the other car turn on. Once it's on, leave it on. As long as it's on, you could still operate it, drive it to wherever you want to go. You could probably go like 3,000 miles as long as you don't shut it off. So, and that'll help you get your vehicle off the road to wherever. You can file that car, and then after you park it, obviously you can swap out the batteries back to the other car. But yeah, so that's the other method that I know. That's probably the only method that I know of a dead battery where you could actually you could actually use that method to actually get your car off the road with a dead battery. You will still need cables. Doesn't necessarily have to be jumper cables, but you probably need jumper cables. But if you're in that situation, you probably have somebody with jumper cables anyway. All right. So, but outside of that, if you guys are in this situation where you're trying to turn on your car and you guys don't know whether the battery is the issue or not. If you guys don't know whether the battery issue is the issue or not, and you get nothing but lights on your dash, let me tell you guys something. All right, it's very, 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 very important to read the messages on your dash. It's very, very, very important to look at the messages on your dash. Okay, if you guys are getting security lights, all right, if you guys are getting security lights on your dash and it does nothing but have the dash lights on, everything else kind of works, but you can't crack your vehicle, you don't know if your battery is dead, here's what you guys can do. Change out the battery on your fob key if you guys can. Okay, sometimes with a dead fob key battery, a lot of times what happens is it will crank on you. Some cars these days have a no crank feature where you might just hear some rings, you might just see the security light, but there's no cranks. You don't know whether the battery is good or not. You could always go out and check the batteries with the headlights. If the headlights are strong, chances are your battery is good, but a lot of times you won't know this. If you don't know this, change out your fob key and try to start and see if that happens. Other thing I can tell you is, maybe if you're in this situation, take off, if you have anything in the 12 volt slots, take the 12 volt whatever it is out of the 12 volt slots, because a lot of times these days the electrical system, everything is connected to each other. You might want to just take the 12 volt whatever it is in 12 volt slot and take it out. All right, sorry about this being a long video, but I've had a lot of things as far as trying to fix this issue. Now let me just go on to other things that you guys can do, and this is probably the last thing that I could think of that you guys can do in this situation where you guys have a dead battery situation. All right, or supposedly a dead battery situation, because you don't know. All right, then this other situation is one of these situations where you try to turn on your car and you get no lights, no dash, no lights, nothing on your dash, nothing whatsoever. You don't see a single thing at all, and it seems like the battery is 100% dead. Okay, here's another trick that you guys can do. All right, a lot of times, a lot of vehicles, all right, and this video is generally not particular towards any manufacturer vehicles, but a lot of vehicles have fusible links. They have main fuses. Okay, if you guys have a vehicle with a fusible link or main fuse, you want to look up your vehicle, see if you guys have either the fusible link or main fuse. I know Hondas have it. I know Infinitis have it. I know Acuras have it. I know Nissan has it. Hyundai's, Kias, even GM vehicles, depending on what your vehicle is. Most vehicles have a main fuse or fusible link where it actually, where the fuses and fusible links burn out first before any issues can damage the fuse box. All right, you guys want to make sure that those fusible links and fuses are not blown. All right, you guys want to make sure that's the case. How do you guys know? Well, you guys can swap it out. Now, with these fusible links and main links, they don't give you backups. Okay, you guys are close to AAA. You guys are close. No, not AAA. You guys go to Advanced Auto, AutoZone, any places that sell any of these particular fuses and fusible links. You guys can go to those places, swap it out, but you guys gotta look it up first and swap out those parts. See if that works. Now, what you guys can do in this situation to test it out is, I've done this before. I'm not saying you guys should do it, but if you guys have two screwdrivers, two long screwdrivers, and you guys have a main fuse, what you guys can do is put one portion on one post of the main fuse, one screwdriver on one post of the main fuse, another screwdriver on the post of one fuse on the other side, and then you guys can connect the metal portion of it and then try to turn it on. Once you guys touch the metal portion, if you guys hear any kind of rings, you guys hear, see the dash lights coming on, chances are it's your main fuse is the problem. As far as the fusible link is concerned, you guys can try doing that. You guys can, if you guys look at the fusible link, if you guys see that any of the metal portions of it is disconnected, you guys could put a screwdriver on one end that's broken off, the other end that's broken off, and connect the two metal portions of the screwdriver. And if you guys hear any kind of rings, chimes, the lights coming on the dash, chances are it's your fusible link that's the problem. And if you guys are close to an AutoZone, you guys can get a Uber to the AutoZone, or a ride to the AutoZone, or Advanced Auto. You guys could just get that, pop it in, and then you solve your situation right there. It's probably not your battery that's dead. It's probably one of those two things that's causing it. Anyway, I might just do a bunch of videos like this, but specific to these little things that I've mentioned, and hopefully, if this has helped you guys in any way, definitely leave a comment in the comment section. If you guys can think of anything else that could help, that you've done to work out your situation with this particular issue, definitely drop a comment in the comment section. But I don't think there's anything else that you guys could actually seriously do, if you guys are in this situation. But please give me a thumbs up, please subscribe, all that good stuff. Appreciate your time. Hope this helped you guys out. All right, guys, take care.